Hey there again. I figure this is probably pretty important to share with actually everybody on the planet. Okay? And that's because of what I call a jack up, an increase in the fear point. Okay? And there's a reason for that, isn't there? How many of you out there know the reason why the events that are happening, the acceleration of the events, which is an acceleration of the fear point? Do you know why that's happening? Or why you are aware of that? These are people that are going to lose their timeline. Okay? They live in a fear-based program. Now, even though, for example, they can do research and say, this is what's happening, all the fires and everything else, okay? This is what I'm experiencing. This is what's happening. Apparently, their perception, their bandwidth perception, their density consciousness is held captive to those things, okay? That's why I run 2 live streams, okay? Which is one that isn't what that is, which is higher density consciousness. The one that I'm aware of, which is what their consciousness is, what they're giving energy to experience. So what happens is that the demons realize they lost. They lost their timeline, okay? Because too much light came in here, okay? There's too many of us. So we know our timeline, okay? And then there's the other timeline that's going to collapse. That's their timeline. Because fear is a timeline that doesn't go on. Self-evidence and logic will tell you that. Because a fear-based program, fear-based consciousness is a reptile. I'm not a reptile, okay? That's lower evolution. Because a reptile is a pure predator and doesn't have any love. So if you want to be held to a fear-based reptile brain, that's your free will. Because that timeline is going bye-bye. Because here's the difference. They can shut the electricity down all they want. I know how to live like an Indian. Because I'm native to this realm. Okay? That's why when I lived in a tree house and I lived on the north shore of Kauai, okay, I didn't use any of their electricity. I didn't require any of their food. I didn't require on a fucking two-trailer truck to deliver food to me in a city because I don't live in cities. Okay? That was the difference between being held captive to civilization that was built by Draco, which is the Vatican. Okay? All the hierarchical systems represent Alpha Draconis. That timeline is going bye-bye. Okay? So if you want to stay attached to that which was built here, that everybody plugged into, which is a program, which is based on fear, that's your choice. Because I just listened to, for example, Dave Hodges, okay, which is like a Patriot network. And now he's got Deborah Tavares on there. Well, they're going to take the grid down. They're going to take the electrical grid down. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They're going to do this. Hasn't happened yet. But you want to make it happen? Let's get everybody to believe it's going to happen. Then it will. They still don't understand how a bidirectional mirror works. Remember, like I put up before, I'm not what you think I am. You are who you think I am. Because the perception through which you perceive the universe you believe you live in is based on the vibrational speed in which you are experiencing the energy that represents what you are, not what anybody else is. So if they can keep you in a lower vibration, which is fear-based, which is who they are, then guess what? You experience a fear-based event. You will attract it. Okay? She's not a native Indian either. But she's aware of a lot of things because she spends all of her time doing what? Research. And I know because she's got a lot of money, she spent a lot of her time doing what? Accumulating energy because she couldn't generate any love of her own and give it all away. That's why I don't have hardly anything. That's a measurement of giving more than you're taking. Okay? That's how it works. That means you're attracting more light. That means you are growing your sovereign spiritual light body. And over time, you begin to become the size of the girl in the planet as an energy service provider. So when you begin to realize how big and powerful her energy is, that is powering and doing the physics in this classroom, then you're beginning to realize to learn through the teacher, who she is, which is what love is. Which is why the Indians were in here as the teachers. Basic common sense and logic. So when I hear stuff like that, it's like, switch the channel, turn it off. That's why at some point I'm going to ditch this phone and I'm headed for the woods. I can survive in the woods just like any animal that's out there, any tree that's out there. Because we communicate in spirit with everything else that is there in spirit. Much like if you ever go see the old Tarzan movies, how he could call and communicate with everything that's in nature, because I'm a nature boy. There's also a female side. Remember, 2 downlinks, 2 uplinks. We come in on tethers, corded. We come in and we leave. Bye. So what everybody learned here in this classroom, based on the girl on the planet who's the teacher, and the teachers that she brought in here in order to help others navigate their way to the higher hyperdimensional realms. Okay? You're never going to get there through fear. That's 100 megahertz. Okay? That means you want to stay in the reptile brain, even though you got a mammal brain. When you operate on the mammal brain, which is love-based, guess what? You delete the fear-based stuff that comes at you. I'm not a reptile. Sorry. So we got a lot of people that operate on the reptile brain. Yep. And they're actually hardwired that way. Hardwired to the reptile brain. Which means their mammal brain didn't develop very far. Which is their infinite creative imagination. Change their reality. So that's very much how it works. How much of your mammal brain are you running on? You see what I'm saying? So I can't stress this enough because it gets disgusting if you want my honest opinion. It's like, how could you not know better? Right? From a teacher's perspective, it's painful because it means I know what they're going to experience. They're going to experience what they attract because that's the energy that they represent, which is what fear is. That's how it works. You are the magnet. When you're using your heart, living through your heart, which is the most powerful magnet, you will attract what it is you're choosing to experience. When you're choosing to experience what fear is because you believe that that's what you're going to experience, then you will. You get enough people to believe that, you can make it happen. What do you think happens? You get to experience all that horror. That's a horror movie that is based on a fear-based reptilian. They want you to experience that because that's their system, that's their energy, that's their timeline. So the only thing that I can suggest at this point in this regard is what I've always said is to live in your heart. That's where love is. And let go of all that bullshit. Because that's what it is. If you think for 1 second it was fear that created the universe, something's wrong. That's not sane. Love goes on. Fear doesn't. Fear collapses the timeline. There are too many light workers and light warriors that are all over the place on YouTube trying to help people navigate through these energies, which represent density consciousness. And obviously, we can't do it for you. You have to do it yourself. Okay? Do the things that if one of the easiest ways in which I think of always my child, because I'm still a child, which means follow your passion. Do the things that lift your spirit. Like last night, I listened to a lot of music because I'm a drummer. I love to play instruments. Okay? And I started out playing drums when I was a kid. So I know how to sit around in a circle and play what's called a circle of drums to bring the spirit out in nature. And it will come out, and that raises your spirit. I grew up at a time in America where guys danced with girls. We used to have a school dance almost every weekend, it seemed like. Okay? Bring the spirit out. Okay? Bring the energy up. When was the last time you ever saw a guy dancing with a girl to a live band? Long time, huh? When I was on the Big Island 2 years ago, they had a beautiful live band there and making the kind of music that lifts your spirit and you want to dance. What I call freestyle dance. Not orderly dancing, freestyle dancing. Where your spirit is wanting to move in all the directions to the beat of the drum and the flow of the harmonics. Because the music is harmonics. The notes are in harmony. Boy, does that move the spirit. We live in a musical universe. So when you're listening to music that moves your spirit, listen to music that moves your spirit. That raises your energy, increases the vibration. Do the things that you know through your intuition, through your heart, and help you raise your vibration. And turn off those things that are fear-based. They do not serve us. Those timelines are going bye-bye. Okay? So anyway, I thought it was important to share that because as soon as I start hearing more fear porn, it's like, and this is what it is. People, what's actually happening right now is what I call a race. It's a race against time. Because we're losing time. It's like the girl who's another spiritual guide, if you will. She's a Kanaka Mahola in the Hawaiian Islands, which simply means she's an old soul. She's been around forever, just like mine has. So when I'm with her, it's always just, look around us. Look how many we're going to lose. Okay? And that simply was a result of all the programming. They believed that everything that they were told, and then everything that they were told was written into their memory, and they operate off of what's in memory, which is low vibration. They were held captive by a political system that was meant to feed on your energy. So you gave it energy to continue to allow them to feed on your energy. That's like taking 3 steps forward and losing 2 steps back. You're never getting ahead, which means you're never attracting more of what you are in energy. So you're going in reverse and never going forward in speed. How are you ever going to get to the next dimension doing that? You're not. And that's the whole purpose, because as long as they can keep you in a fear-based program, they can feed on you. That's simple celestial mechanics. So that's what we're up against right now. Not me, but those that are struggling with this. It's like everything that you believe that you lived in, everything that you have in memory, about all the previous years and months in which you grew up in this country, you've got to let it go. Okay? And start thinking, using your imagination and creativity, of a world that you can imagine that is beyond what that is. Beyond the trauma, beyond the wars, beyond the violence, beyond those that are trying to feed on us, that are holding our mind's energy captive to a lower vibration, which is a different live stream. It's based on a reptile, not a mammal. So anyway, I'll leave you with that because it's the truth. Okay? I mean, at the end of the day, I've cried buckets of tears knowing how many we're going to lose. So I do my absolute best to try and impart the kind of information that will help everybody understand what's really going on here and why things are changing the way that they are. The dark is having a fit. That's what it boils down to. It's like a spoiled brat. Oh, I'm going to lose you. I'm going to take my basketball and go home. Because you're not going to allow me to control everything that we do. Sorry, we're done with you. You don't know how to play fair. You don't know how to give anything away. You don't know how to share any love. So why do I want to hang out with you? You're fear-based. You don't want to share nothing. Okay? You think everything's all about you. That's what a demon is. So anyway, and here's a short piece of history for you. When you think of Satan, think of Saturn. That was the former sun that was here before a new sun was brought in here. Okay, so if you go look at that particular video on Project Ascension called Star Wars Battle Planets, Patty gives you for a pretty good tour because she built the computer lab at KSC. So she's got access to everything that NASA does, okay? And so she shows you Saturn, shows you the temple, what's known as the Draco Temple. And you can see that it's an artifact, which means it's not a celestial living body, okay? And you can see what Gaia did to Iapetes, okay? And you could see how much light she brought to bear, meaning the girl on the planet, okay, did that to one of their battle platforms. Those moons that you see on Saturn are battle platforms, okay? But back in, I think it was 2013, Patty showed us 396 battle planets. Family of Light. Battlestar Athena came in, took out their South Pole generating station. We won the Battle of the South Pole. That's when Patty got the Ring of Midas back, which are the builder's tools of planet Earth. Okay? So the tribes are back in charge. And Trump knows that. Okay? That's why things that happen, and when things need to get done, Patty will bump it up to Trump. Okay? We're native to this planet. This is our realm. This is a classroom. And we're the teachers here. So what we do is share with you information that will help benefit those, because we know the direction that we're headed. They still want to hold your mind captive to their timeline because they're reptile-based. They're fear-based. So they don't want to let you go. We don't want to let you go. So how do they keep you in that timeline? Fear. Anytime that you hear fear-based stuff, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, that's a fear-based timeline. And it's going to collapse. And there's not a lot of time left. That's my message for the day. I love you all. Have a beautiful day. Stay in your heart if you can do that. That's where all your power is. Okay?